What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today, and today I'm going to be going over my predictions for the NBA 2024-25 season. Let's get it going. We're going to be covering standings predictions 15 through 1 in both the West and the Eastern Conference, awards like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. Also, you will have the other awards like Most Improved, Rookie of the Year as well. I'll go over, and then I'm going to go over playoff predictions, what the playoff seeding will look like, and crown a champion or just make a championship prediction. Now, I'm going to go over my standing predictions quickly, but if you want to hear a thought process of these predictions, go ahead and watch my previous video, whole video of me talking about my standing predictions, why I have these teams there. So the Eastern Conference at 15, I have the Brooklyn Nets. At 14, I have the Atlanta Hawks. 13, the Washington Wizards. 12, the Charlotte Hornets. 11, the Detroit Pistons. 10, the Toronto Raptors. 9, I have the Indiana Pacers. At 8, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. At 7, I have the Chicago Bulls. At 6, I have the Orlando Magic. At 5, I have the Miami Heat. At 4, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. At 3, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. And at 2, I have the Boston Celtics. And at 1, I have the New York Knicks. Then in the Western Conference, at 15, I have the Utah Jazz. At 14, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. At 13, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. At 12, I have the Portland Trailblazers. At 11, I have the San Antonio Spurs. At 10, I have the Golden State Warriors. At 9, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. At 8, I have the Houston Rockets. At 7, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. At 6, I have the Denver Nuggets. 5, the Phoenix Suns. 4, the Minnesota Timberwolves. 3, the Dallas Mavericks. 2, the Sacramento Kings. And that number 1 spot for me is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, what I will get into and give my thoughts and predictions in this video is, award predictions, playoff predictions, and championship prediction. I'm going to go over the awards first. MVP. I think with the MVP, you look at some of the top guys, and of course, I think the MVP is always going to be some of the top guys, that are not just having success as a player, but is having success with his team. You look at the Denver Nuggets last year. Nikola Jokic won the MVP. They were the 2 seed. Most of the time, when we see an MVP won, not only is that player dominating in basketball, but their team is also dominating. So that's why I think I look at guys ultimately. I look at guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I have the Thunder being the 1 seed for starters, so he would be a favorite, especially with the way he plays basketball. I think with the Thunder being a team, they're a team that loves to move the ball. Shai's, I think his assists will go up this year. I think he's still going to be scoring the ball, maybe a little bit less, but just about the same as last year. But I think his assists will go up a lot, and I think his points might go down a little bit, but might be just at the same. But I think he'll be an MVP favorite. As I have the Kings being a dominant team, I think you look at Domantas Sabonis as a potential MVP favorite with a guy who gets so many double-doubles, so many triple-doubles. I think if his team is so good, if they take the next level with DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray, with that team around him, we know he's going to get double-doubles. We know he's going to get triple-doubles. He will be an MVP favorite this upcoming year if his team is dominant. I think if last year if his team would have been more dominant, if his team would have been a top 3 seed in the Western Conference and not a play-in team, I think Sabonis would have been more in the MVP conversation. If the Kings take the next step, I think he'll be mentioned. I think, of course, with the numbers that Luka Doncic puts up, with him being as I predict him to be a top 3 team in the Western Conference, I think he will be considered. But I'm not a big fan of Luka winning MVP just because of the fact that Luka has such a great team around him. And So you have Kyrie, you have Klay Thompson, you have PJ Washington, you have all these other players on his team. Luka doesn't have to do as much as he has done before. I think he's still going to put up good numbers, but I would look at potentially Shea being more the MVP over Luka. Look at the Eastern Conference. I don't think Jokic is really would if the Nuggets kind of fall. I think losing KCP and guys like Reggie Jackson, I think, really hurt their team. So, if you lose those guys like they have, I think they will fall a little bit. If they're not a top team in the Western Conference anymore, Jokic can do great things, but I think guys like Luka, Sabonis, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be more favorable into the MVP talks if their teams are in the top at the West. But then I look at the East. I like Jalen Brunson, but for me, it's a team that has so much talent around the board. So, who knows? It's hard. It's hard to win an MVP when you got so much talent. You got all the stars around you, like Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns. You have Josh Hart. You have all these terrific players around you. It's going to be OG Anunoby, Deuce McBride. It's going to be hard. Brunson's going to play a great season, and he'll be a favorite if the Knicks are a 1 or a 2 seed. But I don't know. I don't see Brunson really as an MVP favorite. Same thing with Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown with the Celtics. They're going to be a great team, but such a stacked team. Everybody's got to eat, just like in New York. And with Philadelphia, I have them being a great team, but similar with Joel Embiid, when you're playing with other superstars, they're gonna be nights where you don't have to do as much as you normally would. Also, keep in mind there's a 65 game requirement. Joel Embiid is not playing 65 games this year. He's gonna play maybe at the most 50 to 60 games. He will be short of the 65 game requirement, so he doesn't really matter at all. Giannis, I think he could be in the MVP talks, but I don't know if Giannis is gonna play the 65 game requirement either. Giannis had injury problems last year. Can he stay healthier? If he can, he could be in the MVP talks. But the deal is that we don't know if he can stay healthy. If he can, he'll be in the MVP talks. But as my MVP prediction, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think that's the safe pick. That's who I'm predicting to win MVP. I'm gonna get to Rookie of the Year next. I have some rookies I love. I love the rookie in Los Angeles. His name's Bronny James. I think he's going to average about 100 points. I'm just kidding. No, but I am talking about another rookie in LA who is a baller, and that is Dalton Knecht. Dalton Knecht, I think, is a serious candidate to win Rookie of the Year. They need some stepping up off the bench. It won't be from LeBron's son, Bronny, but I think the main rookie who will make his footprint on this Lakers team will be Dalton Knecht. We saw his shooting in one of the last preseason games against the Suns. He is an elite shooter. And, I've talked about how, when you have guys like Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic in Dallas who get double teamed, they're going to be open shooters like PJ Washington and Klay Thompson, right? Those guys are going to get open. They're going to get shots. Well, now LeBron James and Anthony Davis in Los Angeles, if they get double teamed, they have a great shooter to get the basketball to and let him shoot as well. I think he's going to be a favorite for Rookie of the Year. I also really love some of the rookies in Minnesota. You have Terrence Shannon Jr., you have Rob Dillingham, although I'm not going to pick them to win Rookie of the Year. I'm not a big fan of the first overall pick, Zach Ricochet, or the dude in Washington, I forget his name, Alex Sarr. But my Rookie of the Year pick is going to go to the Houston Rockets' Reed Shepherd. This dude is a monster shooting the basketball. Defensively, he's going to be everywhere for this Rockets team if he gets some minutes. I think he's my Rookie of the Year pick. Now, Defensive Player of the Year, I'm giving it to Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert can get all the hate he wants, but he's a great defensive player. He's going to have to step up this year with Karl-Anthony Towns being gone. That's more of a role for him defensively. I think Gobert steps up and wins yet another Defensive Player of the Year award. Coach of the Year, again, this is another award where it really kind of goes to a team that has, just like MVP, it goes to someone who has a top team. So I think you're looking at Mark Daigneault again for OKC, who won last year. You're looking at Joe Mazzulla with Boston. You're probably looking at OKC. You're looking at New York. You're looking at Sacramento and Mike Brown, Dallas with Jason Kidd, Philadelphia potentially with Nick Nurse. You're looking at the top 3 seeds in the West or East, and those are some of the coaches there. Or you're potentially looking at a coach that has had a team make a big jump. I look at teams that have had to make a big jump from the season before, and I look at Phoenix. I have them having a way better season than they did last year. Maybe their head coach could be in the conversation. Mike Budenholzer. Another team I have making a big jump is the Chicago Bulls. I have them going to the 7 or 6 seed this year. I think maybe potentially Billy Donovan could be in the talks as well. But I'm gonna give the head coaching the coach of the year to Joe Mazzulla of the Boston Celtics. And next, going to my most improved player, I'm giving it to another Houston Rocket. It's Alperen Sengun. I love Sengun. He's going to take another jump. We've seen a jump after every season. And I think this is going to be a type of year for Sengun like we saw from most improved player Lauri Markkanen a couple years ago. I see Sengun improving into an all-star this year. I expect a big year from Alperen Sengun. And for my final prediction of Sixth Man of the Year award, this is a hard one for me to predict. But I think it's someone in Minnesota. I look at guys like Dante DiVincenzo or Naz Reid in Minnesota. And then I also look at Malik Monk in Sacramento. I think it's down to one of the 2 favorites of last year. Last year, the top 2 voters was Malik Monk and Naz Reid. I think it comes down to that again. But I think Dante DiVincenzo, if he's going to most likely be coming off the bench for Minnesota, I think he'll be in talks as well. I'm not going to go with Malik Monk, but I'm going to say Naz Reid wins the Sixth Man of the Year award. As of for my play-in and playoff predictions, in the play-in, here's what the play-in would look like. You would have the San Antonio Spurs go up against the Los Angeles Lakers. You'd have the Golden State Warriors go up against the Los Angeles Lakers. I like the Warriors, and I'm not a big fan of the Lakers. I think they got a good team, but not a great team. But still, I think the Lakers would beat the Warriors in a head-to-head play-in matchup. Then you'd have the Rockets and the Pelicans. In New Orleans, I'm a Rockets fan, but I think the Pelicans probably beat the Rockets. And then, you'd have the Pelicans move on to the 7 seed, and then you'd have the Rockets go up against the Lakers in the 8 seed game. And LeBron's season on the line with AD. I love my Rockets, but I'm going to say the Rockets go 2 in the play-in game. The Lakers are the 8th seed. Then playoff predictions, Thunder and Lakers, 1 and 8 seed matchup. I let the Lakers win 2 play-in games, but this is where their season ends. Thunder and 5 over the Lakers. Sacramento Kings against the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm going to go with the Kings getting some revenge on the Pelicans and the Kings beating them in 5 or 6 games. Dallas Mavericks and the Nuggets. A first-round playoff matchup between Jokic and Luka would be nice. I'm going with the Mavericks in 6 or 7 games. Timberwolves and Suns, a rematch of last year's first-round series. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to go with the Suns. I'm going to go with the Suns beating the Timberwolves and moving on to the second round. Then you'd have the Suns and the Thunder and the Kings and the Mavericks. I'm going with the Mavericks beating the Kings in about 6 or 7 games. And then Thunder and the Suns. Thunder are a terrific team. I'm going to say they finally get to the conference finals, and then we see a rematch between the Thunder and the Mavericks. And I'm going to go ahead and say the Thunder finally get to the NBA Finals with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and that squad. And then in the Eastern Conference, play-in predictions, the 10-seed Raptors going up against the 9-seeded Pacers. I like the Raptors, but I'll go with the Pacers all day. They move so quick and, shoot the ball so well. And then you'd have the 8-seeded Cavaliers versus the 7-seeded 7 seeded Chicago Bulls. I like the Bulls. I think they're going to be a very much improved team this year. But I'm going with the Cavaliers winning, being the 8 seed to improve to the 7 seed. Then we would see the Indiana Pacers go up against the Chicago Bulls for the 8 seed. And I'm going with the Pacers jumping in to be the 8 seed. Then we would see the 8 seed Pacers versus the Knicks in a rematch, going with the Knicks in 6 games. Then we would see the Cavaliers as the 7 seed rematch versus the Celtics. And I'm going with the Celtics in 4 or 5 games. And the 76ers, then the Milwaukee Bucks would face the Orlando Magic. I'm going with the 76ers winning that series in about 5 or 6 games. The Milwaukee Bucks beating the Magic in that series in about 5 or 6 games. Then we'd have the 76ers go up against the Miami Heat. It'd be a hard series, and I'm going to go with Philadelphia in that series. And we have Philadelphia go up against New York. Love Philadelphia rematch with the New York Knicks. 2 great teams. If both teams are healthy in that series, I'm going with Philadelphia taking down the 1-seeded Knicks. Then the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going with the Celtics beating the Bucks. And then we'd have the Eastern Conference Finals of the Celtics and the 76ers. Can the 76ers finally take down the Celtics? If not, it's a Celtics versus Thunder NBA Finals. And if not, we see Joel Embiid finally make an NBA Finals appearance. At least he's finally in the conference finals for starters. But I want to go with the 76ers, man, but I don't know if they're healthy that stage. And I'm going to go with the Celtics going to the NBA Finals. But here's where I have the Celtics road ending. I don't have the Celtics making it to be back-to-back champions. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA championship and beating the Celtics in the NBA Finals. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions in the comment section, and peace out.